Oh my word. Good morning. Good morning, everyone. I am so happy to be back. So welcome to Rapid Fire Friday. I know it's been a while, but I wanted to hop on sharply at 10 o'clock this morning to not only say good morning, but welcome back, everyone. So it's been a while because of the holiday season. For those of you that have been following my journey on either the Facebook group or my business page, Edible Impressions, I had announced that I would be taking a break from the master classes and Rapid Fire Fridays with good reason, because we had a very busy holiday season. And I don't want another moment to go by without, giving some kudos to my team. It was an incredible holiday season, which really kicked off at the start of October. Honestly, it seems to be busy year round, but we really pushed fast and furious starting in October through the middle of December. So thank you to my team. I'm going to rattle off their names very, very quickly. But as many of you know that we are a family-run business. I started Edible Impressions from a hobby over 17 years ago. And for those of you that don't know me, my name is Annette Conrad, and I'm the owner and lead creative of Virtual Guide for Edible Impressions. And I'm located just north of downtown Milwaukee, Wisconsin. So I've always taken great pride in being family run. And so a big kudos, of course, to my husband and business partner, Larry Conrad, operations director, my two sons, Devin and Ryan Conrad. Both are very involved with either the marketing and or operations. Periodically throughout the year, my dear sister, Sylvia, who we've been decorating together for so many years, and she's my counterpart on select master classes. So we'll be back with those soon. Jasmine Hanneman, who has been with me now over 3 years and who also has her own little side gig. So Jasmine, thank you so much for all your work. And then I have my sister Nancy, who will hop in when need be, my niece Anna, who is incredible this year. She committed to working with me for several weeks and did not disappoint, stepped up and came in extra hours as well. And so it was just a fantastic year. And I also want to give a kudos to my mom. So I do mention her occasionally, Yolande Melkonian, my mom, who is also helping behind the scenes. She is our ribbon queen and sticker bag queen. So thank you so much. I think that's everybody. Let me just think really quickly. Of course, there's others that may not work operationally, but that are there to support me and my team. So I really am very grateful to everyone. So just wanted to get that out there to just say thank you. We've usually take a couple weeks off in January, but it's been pretty busy. So we are right away out of the gates here, pretty busy, but we will get a little bit more R&R towards the end of the month before February kicks in, of course. So anyway, so welcome. You're probably wondering, what is Rapid Fire Friday? I do want to get down to business. I want to get back on track with these every Friday at 10 o'clock Central Time. And if you're not able to hang on with me for Rapid Fire Friday, you can always catch the replays. And I am a little bit behind, but I am going to download all of the past Rapid Fire Fridays to YouTube so that if you want to binge watch them, that's a really easy platform to be able to binge watch them. But what I do is I go through 5 questions, suggestions, or wonderments that I find interesting from the previous week. And hopefully just to bring some, information, some knowledge, perspective to you. Again, it is not all end all. It is a lot of the responses that I have are from my personal journey as a hobbyist to business owner. And it could be decorating, it could be business sense, it just could be something fun. But I do look at the last week and try to stay current with what is out there. After each one, I will ring the bell. And I do want to say good morning. We've got quite a few people on live. So hello, Melinda and Nancy and Dawn, Andrea. Oh my gosh, Verda, it's so nice to see everybody. I'm so excited to be back. I know that this time is not ideal for many folks in the community. A lot of folks are working their full-time job, but again, you can watch the replay. And I know a lot of folks do catch the replay. So thank you so much. And let's get going. So we've got a couple of items to cover today. I'm actually going to go backwards just for fun. So I want to bring up a survey says topic. So this one is all about squeeze bottles. So someone had recently posted in one of the communities, squeeze bottles for flooding icing, yes or no? And I found this conversation to be very fascinating, and I wasn't surprised by the results or the comments that came in. There were quite a few comments, and there were people that were very passionate about the squeeze bottles. So if you're not sure what I'm talking about, those soft pliable bottles where you can exchange the different size tips. A lot of folks will use them for flooding, even sometimes outlining, mostly for flooding because you can't have the frosting be too thick in there. Otherwise, they're very difficult to use. But personally, I'll just start off, I'm not a big fan. I use water bottles, the real pliable water bottles, for water. I have tried them for icing. I'm just not a fan. Time consuming to fill, time consuming to clean. It clogs. And I think it's a little wonky for decorating. I much prefer the softer bags in your hand. I exclusively use tipless decorating bags. I do use some decorative tips, of course, for some detail, but not a big fan. So I'll kind of share with you what some other folks said about these squeeze bottles. Someone said that slows them down. They're not easy to fill. They actually hurt. They can hurt your hands more than using bags. Let's see, they're harder to squeeze. They hurt their hands. A lot of people said that they are very painful. And actually one of the things that someone mentioned, which I kind of forgot to mention myself, was that every time you squeeze and you release, it actually sucks in an air bubble. So you can have problems with air bubbles. So that was a really good point to mention. So and so let's see what else other people say. Yeah, bubbles are hard. It's hard to knead the frosting. Okay, that's definitely a reality, especially with flooded icing, which is going to be a little looser. If you're not going to use that bottle, even for, sometimes 15, 20 minutes, maybe a little longer, but all of a sudden now you've got that icing starting to separate a little bit. So it's hard to mix it. You no doubt have to take it out of the bottle, mix it again, and then put it back in the bottle. So like I said, I think it's a little time consuming. But here's the thing. Where's the love with these bottles, right? There's a little bit of love that came out. There was one comment of 27 that actually said, I've used them for decades. And the key is to find soft bottles, not just the regular squeeze bottles. Otherwise your hands will hurt. So that was a long answer. I got to get back in my rhythm of being rapid for Rapid Fire Friday, but I thought that was a really interesting. So periodically I'll bring in a survey says theme. So, okay. And speaking of other communities, I want to give a quick shout out to a fellow Facebook group, which I am a group expert and a moderator for. It's called Sugar Cookie Decorating for Beginners. So I mentioned that not for you guys all to run away and go there, but if you are truly a beginner and you are absolutely starting from scratch, you just want to learn the craft, particularly for pleasure, that is a great community to be in. It's quite large and there's a lot of posts every day, but I want to give a shout out just because it is really a great resource for tips and tricks, and especially if you are beginning and you don't know anything about the craft. I welcome you to join that community. So most of the members there are new, and all the moderators there, such a big group. There's I think 7 or 8 of us that are moderating and sharing our areas of expertise. So I do welcome you to go to that community. So, okay, so that was a short one. All right, good morning, good morning. We've got a couple more folks joining. So hello, thank you. And for those watching the replay, okay, so let's go to the next one. Smudging. Let's talk about icing, your icing that smudges can be very frustrating. So when you're doing a painting or when you're using edible markers, if you're doing shimmer, sometimes you get smudging, which means that it's smearing. Maybe it doesn't dry. And so there are a lot of folks that use cornstarch. So this one person that posted said, cornstarch, I know it is a necessary evil, but I seem to make a huge mess with it. Then it is all over my cellophane bags and my fingers. My orders look like they were just fingerprinted for a crime scene. So there must be a better method in mind. Big soft brush with cornstarch on the lid. So I don't know, she doesn't really finish the sentence there. But bottom line is cornstarch. Number one, does it help? Does it work? How do you do it? I can't speak from experience. I, maybe tried it one time. I wasn't a fan because of those reasons, because it is kind of messy. It will leave a little bit of residue. Not everybody would agree with me on that, but I've never had issues with bleeding. I think a lot of it comes down to waiting for that layer, whatever that layer is, to completely dry before you put that second layer. And then particularly when you are painting, it may not be that you're not waiting long enough. It could very well be the product that you're using is not drying. Maybe there's too much moisture in it. Maybe there's too much dye in it that is not allowing that for it to dry, which then inevitably is going to leave smearing and smudging. So really quick, just shout out, I occasionally will do a product recommendation. I'm not an affiliate for this or this group, but I do recommend, if you are struggling, particularly with painting or airbrushing, I do recommend, as I have in a past masterclass, Sugar Prism products are really the elite of paint for your cookie projects. So I highly recommend check out Painting with Sugar Prism. It's another Facebook group, which is awesome. You can meet actually the creator, Michelle Ingalls, and her products are fantastic. So whether it's her watercolors, her acrylics, she's got Choco Changer if you want to color your chocolate. She has all sorts of great products. And again, dries very quickly, and you don't have to use cornstarch for those products. Okay, so let's move on. I think, oh my gosh, this goes so fast, but the last one I want to talk about is never say never. Never say never. What I mean by this is probably a couple months ago on one of my master classes, and if you're wondering about these master classes I keep talking about, go to the events section of this community. You can watch my past master classes for free. The free replays are there every other Wednesday, and I'll be starting this up again with next week, Wednesday, the 11th. I'll talk about that in a moment. But every other Wednesday, I will concentrate on a decorating technique, and the opposite Wednesday is about business. So take a look at the events section, and you can take a look at the various topics that I cover. But when I say never, a couple of months ago, I had talked about the techniques of adhering logos to cookies. And for years, we are nationally recognized for our really high quality custom logo cookies. And we use edible sugar sheets. And so, but I recently posted in the group, welcome to the family, Eddie. So if you're not sure with what Eddie is, it is a edible printer. It really is a one-of-a-kind printer. I have a feeling it's not going to be too long before some other companies come out with a variation of it. But we decided to kind of give it a try. So we're right now working with the Eddie machine to see if it is something that we want to do exclusively, or we might keep both options. And there's a reason. I know someone questioned me, like, why would you ever keep both options? Definitely, there are pros and cons to either edible sugar sheets or the Eddie printer, which is printing directly on royal icing. I'm not going to go too much into detail because I think this might be a course that I might do. This will be a paid course, however, because I've worked years. My husband has worked years to master this technique. And we have lots of tips and tricks to save you time, to save you money. So there's great value in that. So if you're not at this point doing any kind of logos or images or prints, you might want to consider doing that for a variety of reasons. But I did want to just say that there are definitely variables that we are considering as we are in our trial period with this machine. What's great is the Eddie does, and I'm not an affiliate, I'm not telling you to go out and buy one. It is definitely an investment. But we're looking at right now the pros and cons, and also what the variables would be of that event or that order to determine which one is better. So I'm going to keep you a little in suspense because we're still going through that trial and error. So if this is a topic of interest to you, if there is enough demand that you want to learn more about this, I will consider doing a webinar. So send me a private DM, put a comment in this feed, and we will get that going for you. And then I always do welcome you to visit AnnetteConrad.com. I do welcome you to join my mailing list. I will not spam you. I very, very periodically send out emails, but I have great resources, some free resources at that website, AnnetteConrad.com. So I did want to get that out there because I was getting lots of inquiries about, wait a minute, what's an Eddie? Why do you have it? And how does it work? So anyway, thank you so much. So this is just getting back on track with our Rapid Fire Fridays. Again, every Friday, 10 o'clock Central. You can watch the replay. Next week, Wednesday the 11th, I'll be coming on for the next free masterclass, always at 6:30 Central Time. The time can be anywhere between 30 minutes and 60 minutes max. Really, the length of those masterclasses are dependent on how engaging you are. So I do welcome you to come on live. If not, feel free to watch the replay. Any question that comes in, I do try to answer live, but then I always go in post-event and also answer your questions and wonderments. So next week, we're going to be doing a little bit of a wrap-up from the holiday season. I'm going to talk about tips and tricks to make it through a holiday season and also talk about lessons learned. And yes, there were a couple of good lessons learned this past season. So I look very forward to visiting with you again soon. As always, I welcome you to DM me or again, reach out to me via my website at AnnetteConrad.com. So thank you, everybody. And again, welcome back.